This is the Cloner Alliance Box Pro. If you're a gamer, love movies, or want to record any footage whatsoever, this device can do it all. Heck, it was able to record my PS2 gameplay because it comes with an adapter that can convert the RCA cable signal to an HDMI signal. For those that have some older gen consoles, this might be great for you. Today, we're going to take a look at everything this little 4.5-inch box can handle and what I've used it for so far. For under $200 USD, I definitely think that anyone that needs something to record basically anything will enjoy how easy this is to use and set up. So yes, mobile gamers, today I have this box. This is something I will be using even more when it comes to recording my gameplay footage on the channel and other footage that I need to record. Sure, programs like OBS Studio can record your screen or your game footage just the same, but this little box that sort of reminds me of an Android box can be stationed anywhere in your home and record directly to a USB drive. You can even play back the footage directly from your USB drive that is connected to the device. This might kind of remind you of the good old days of using PVR or DVR, so you don't miss those good old hockey games on TV. Oh, and yes, this does have a feature for you to actually schedule recording the footage of that hockey game, for example, but I didn't test this out because I prefer the more manual approach. It comes with a remote that is pretty simple to understand too, with a record button at the top and the stop button at the top. You can record whatever you see on screen easily. However, you have to have something connected to it to do so. Then when you're done, just press the stop button and it'll save automatically to the USB drive connected. You can also change the resolution and the screen ratio from 4:3 to 16:9 and 720p to 1820p. Just kidding, 1080p. Just making sure you're listening. I don't mind 1080p on the most part, and there is a better option out there that's for like 4K resolution and stuff, but this is the one that this company decided to send me. Now, the easy to access menu can be accessed by pressing the home button, which allows you to configure some settings of the recorded footage as well. It's pretty generic. The settings are just standardized settings of changing like the contrast and brightness and all that kind of stuff. However, if you want to pre-edit a video, this is maybe a good way to do it, but in my opinion, really not the way I would do things, because I just personally leave the default settings and edit it later. Now for the connections. So we have an HDMI connection, which is just for HDMI input. We have an HDMI output, which is to direct the output signal out to whatever device you're outputting it to. So in my case, I had one of my devices connected into it, and then I wanted to view that on my monitor, for example, or my TV. I could still see the device that's connected to it, and it'll allow me to record that footage basically from that device. It also has what they call an MMI cable connector, which is for the RCA and VGA connection adapter. Now, you can't plug the HDMI into this. This is only for this cord specifically. So anybody that has like a retro console, like the one that I tested, which was my PS2, that has the RCA cable, so the yellow, red, and white cables, if you remember those fun old cables, you could even record some old VHS tapes and preserve your movies for your collection. I don't have any old VHS tapes laying around anymore, or I would have tested this out, as I recently actually just dropped off a whole box of VHS tapes at the Goodwill because we never really used them anymore. It was just something that was outdated and kind of took up space. So that's where we're at right now, is a digital era, and that's what this is good for. So maybe you want to just dump all those VHS tapes, maybe you want to store them away or keep them for collecting, you can do so with the Cloner Alliance Box Pro. You can also connect this via a USB-A to USB micro connection. I know that this is an old connection, but this allows you to use their Cloner program on the computer, and then you can just basically record any footage that you have connected to it. So for my example here, I used the AYN Odin 2, and I connected my HDMI to my mini HDMI connector, or my micro HDMI connector, and I recorded the gameplay to the Cloner Helper program on the computer. You can select different directories and locations where you want your videos to be saved. However, don't expect to use this program as your main viewing And what I mean by this is when you're recording, the latency between the device and the USB transcoding is behind about like 10 milliseconds. So it's not really something to like look at your computer and keep an eye on while you're playing the game. This doesn't affect the final result of the video. However, it just isn't going to be your main source of viewing. Mind you, I would just watch the footage on my Odin 2 or the device that I'm connected to, or my TV, for example, and then just use this as like an alternative way to record my footage over USB-C, or not USB-C, micro USB. So with all of these features, and probably some that maybe you could think of, because maybe I didn't cover a lot of features that I would use it for, like I guess you could probably record some Netflix footage or something if you wanted to. You can record anything basically with this thing. So you can record Disney, for example. Maybe you just want to have a whole bunch of Disney movies recorded off your TV. Now, are you gonna get in trouble for that? I don't know, but that's something that, you know, I think is something that we can do in our own home, is just record whatever footage we want. It's our product. We can do whatever we want while we're in our home, and maybe we just don't want to use those services anymore. We could record all the stuff we want to and then rewatch it later on or something. Now, again, do you own some old VHS tapes that need to be cataloged for eternity? Maybe you want to prop this next to your couch and plug in your mobile gaming device to record some gameplay footage that you can easily edit later. Or perhaps you need to replace the cheap $20 capture card you've been using for years and get a perfect upgrade to showcase your gameplay footage off your beefy $5,000 PC. Or maybe you still have a classic TV, like a CRT, and you want to record a movie or sporting event to keep it in the archives forever. Sorry, I only use paid subscription these days. I don't use the old satellite dish or classic TV cable service anymore. So all of these ideas came to mind when this company reached out to me about sending me this amazing product for review. And I think if you're looking for something like this and don't know what to get, this is definitely a go-to cloning tool to get in 2024. Oh, and they have a beefier one for those 4K enthusiasts, like I mentioned before, but I'm fine with 1080p in 2024. Bye!